Hi everyone and welcome back. Welcome to my Svelte JS playlist. So in the last video we talked about a writable store. In this video we are going to talk about readable store. Okay, so we have discussed about derived store, writable store, and the readable store is something which we are going to discuss in this particular video. So let's first clean this sandbox and then we will get started. Okay, app Svelte, we don't have these components. Okay, it's clear now. So Svelte also offers the readable function or readable store, which allows for creating a readable store whose value cannot be changed or updated from other components. So in the last video, we talked about writable store, whose value the cart items and the products we were able to update through other components. But this is a readable store and the values cannot be updated. So what I will do is I will create a simple store, and then we will compare it how it is different from the others. So it is not exposing that set and update method outside the store. We can update the values inside a store, but only inside a store files. And we are using readable store. So let's say I'm just writing a simple counter and its initial value is math dot random. Okay, this is the initial value and we are creating a simple counter and we will export this. So how we are going to do this? So it's a readable store we are creating. Readable store takes the initial value and then it allows us to pass the set function to update the value maybe in regular interval or something like that. So here we can just create a increment counter and we can call set interval, which takes callback, and through this callback we can update. So this interval is executing in after every second, and here we are saying that you are getting new value, and we will just do the same math dot floor and math dot random value, and then we can just call the set method. Set method will take new value, simple, and then what it is going to return? It is going to return is the clear interval. So this is how the cleanup process happens. So we can do clear interval and we can pass this variable increment counter that holds the set interval object instance, and here we can do is export counter, and then you can import this. So a simple readable store, what we are doing is the readable store takes initial value and provide us a set method. That means it is not exposing update and set method to other components. So when we import this readable store on other components, you cannot do set and update method. It internally does it. What this function is doing now, it is in every second it is going to call this set interval and will render update the new value, and now this new value you can render on the UI. And subscription and this return which get called when you are unsubscribing, it means your component, whoever is using this readable store, is unsubscribing or unmounting. Okay, we can talk about this different examples when we are going to use the readable store, because we know writable store and derived store has a particular use case. You might have some data which needs to be shared across across different component, but the component should not update the values. That means, let's say I have some share marketing or the marketing data which keeps updating, right? I am not updating, the components are not updating the value, it is being updated from the external resource, right? In that case, because what we want to fetch the latest and updated value real time. but components will not be requesting, okay, give me this data. So what we can do is we can use this analogy. We can create a readable store where on a particular interval we can call the set method, and that set method will update the store object value, and that store object value already shared with any other component in the application. So let's say I'm going to write another example. So we have a readable store, and I'm going to simply say, let's say we are going to fetch some user data. Okay, so we can simply write a one particular store, export const user. This is a readable store I'm writing, and this readable store requires initial data. Sorry for the typo. Oh man. Okay, so what we need is we need some IDs. Let's say 1 2 3, and we have first name, we have last name. Let's keep it like this. So this is the initial data we have. Readable store, we have to pass the initial data, and then it requires a set method. Inside set method, now there is some kind of API call we wanted to fetch. Let's say we are going to make an API call to fetch the stock listing and their pricing. Similarly, there can be any other API. Here I'm going to fetch the user data, so I'm going to do set interval callback, and this callback will trigger in every 5 seconds. And inside this I'm going to do a fetch call to some API. So this API is just a simple some random name fetcher. Okay, so fetch is going to return with the promise. This promise will be resolved, and then okay, fetch dot then we have to return data.json. We have to serialize it, and then we can do a dot then again, and we can get the final data. Dot then I got some, let's say, user object. Once I have the user object, I can get the data. So let's say I have the two properties here, first and last, and this is a fake API. So how it renders the data from user, I can do results. It's going to return with array 0.name. Okay, so const value, couple of more attributes. Let's say the user.id and all, user.results 0.id. okay, and I can say this is the new user. After making this API call, I have the ID which is having this value, and first name, okay, I got the new user object from this API call, and I can do set new user. So what happens after this 5 seconds? We are making a call and we are setting this, right? And this is all happening inside fetch, right? So I can also handle it through the catch. If something like some error happened, then we can just do a set null. Okay, we were not able to make an API call, we got the error, and we are returning this. And if everything is fine, we can return a callback which will do the clear interval and pass the timer user API interval. This is a clean and simple implementation of this readable store, which internally after 5 seconds making a call and updating, internally calling this set method and updating the store with the new updated user object. Now what we need to do is go to your component, and from inside that component we can just render it. So let's say I have a component or we already have app Svelte. So I will first import this. Inside app Svelte, import user from, I have readable.store.js, and inside template, what you can do is simply, okay, if you see a $user, sorry, it's a dollar because we don't want it to subscribe it. If $user not equal to null, that means we got the data. Else, if we didn't receive a data, we can simply say is error while loading data. If we got the data, if it is not null, we can simply print the values, and values will be $user dot first name. Okay, why it is complaining? App Svelte readable store, and I'm printing the first name. And then also I can print, and we will debug this. What's the problem with this? First name and last name. Do we see anything? Could not find module path, unexpected token. Let's reload this, and we'll also look into this. First name, last name, ID. User is an object, user.results, results, we got the value. User.results ID, yeah, we got it right. Now after particular seconds it is getting changed. So this is what I want to do the demo, right? Internally it is updating these names in every 5 seconds, new names, and it is happening through the Readable store. Okay, so Readable store, there is a particular use case. We are not going to use this on every other occasion of writing the store, but yeah, on a particular use case when you want to do it real time and internally you wanted to do all these things, you can use the Readable store. Okay, so this is all about the store. Now we are moving ahead to the next topic, which is talking about slots, how we can create a reusable components by rendering the children's inside a component. Okay, what are the different options in which we can create a reusable components? Let's talk about that in the next video. Thanks everyone.